You consider this an act of domestic terrorism?
I think so.
Why?
I think that if and when they catch the people, and I hope they do, the good thing is they have a lot of cameras in those places, and they've caught some already having to do with that. I think that you will find out that they're paid by people that are very highly political on the left.
Meanwhile, it's because of Elon Musk. Everything he did was...
You know, things are going bad for Donald Trump when not even the Fox propaganda outlet will defend every dumb decision he makes, every dangerous action he puts forth, and every downright disturbing thing he says. And that is exactly what we saw from Donald Trump's interview with Laura Ingraham when she confronted him about not just bending the knee to Putin, but also the allies that he is attacking in the stupidest trade war in history. And as you can expect, Donald didn't like that too much and had himself a little bit of a freak out that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me now. Like I said, there was some confrontation on Donald Trump's bending the knee to Putin, and as you could expect, he responded like this.
How can we trust that Vladimir Putin actually wants that, in that he's not also being influenced at the same time by his close friend, President Xi of China?
Well, look, we have our own discussions with President Xi of China, and he wants to get along also, and he's looking to get along, and we're looking to get along with him, and we will. We have a problem of trade where we have a very big imbalance with China. With Russia, we don't have that much trade, and they'd like to, and we'd like to also. They have some very valuable things for us, including very big forms of rare earth. They have a lot of earth. You know, they have a big chunk of real estate, the biggest, actually the biggest in the world for a country, by far. And on that, they have things that we could use, frankly, and that other people could use. I think that President Xi would like to get along, and I think Russia wants to get along with the United States. I also think we're a much different country than we were just a few months ago.
After Donald Trump wrapped up a phone call with Vladimir Putin that presumably was pre-planned today for him to give concessions on a fake ceasefire that really just elevates the U.S. relationship with Russia while weakening Ukraine, who Russia, even though they tentatively have kind of agreed that maybe they'll think about a ceasefire, continue to bomb the country, and what is Donald Trump saying as many nice things as he possibly can about Putin. But it didn't stop there, because listen to what he had to say here.
Putin actually said to me, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as my enemy. He said that very strongly. But I had, with all of that, I had a very good relationship with Putin. I had a very good relationship with President Xi, a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Lots of good relationships. And that's a positive thing. That's not a negative thing. But at the same time, I'm about our country. So that's why we're talking about tariffs. We'll be taking in trillions of dollars.
I want to get to the tariffs in a minute because we're gonna first hit the other.
Donald Trump is just fully admitting to getting played right there, saying that Putin told him as he was batting his eyelashes, well, Donald, I wouldn't want you to hurt my feelings. If I'm your friend and that got Trump to cave, this is the master negotiator, strong, you know, tough, macho leader that we want, someone who can be swayed by dictators who clearly understand how dumb he is and are just playing to his level, saying that, well, Donald, don't you want to keep your friends? We're your friends. You don't want to be lonely and insecure because your dad never hugged you. Do you like that's what it's about? Why is he admitting to that? This is a movement in MAGA that claims to be so macho and tough. And yet Donald Trump ultimately is just like admitting he's a loser, who's like self-conscious and wants people to like him because he's so insecure. It's just so ridiculous, especially when we see him lash out like he did right here.
Canada was meant to be the 51st state, because we subsidize Canada by $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We have a lot of lumber. We freed it up, as you know, last week. We're freeing it up so that you can actually cut down a tree without being, given the death penalty. Because what these radical environmentalists have done to our country, but we freed it up. But we don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything. We certainly don't want their automobiles. They make a lot of millions of automobiles are sent in. I'd rather have them made in Michigan. I'd rather have them made in South Carolina or any one of our.
But you're tougher with Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only
Why?
because it's meant to be our 51st Street. And
Okay, but
no.
So love for Putin, but our allies in Canada, not so much. What didn't just stop there, because like I said, there was actually some confrontation from Laura Ingraham, who called out Donald Trump attack on Canada. And this clip right here.
With Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only
Why?
because it's meant to be our 51st Street. And
okay, but
but listen to this for a second.
We need their territory. They have territorial advantage. We're not going to let them get close to China.
Look, right? I deal with every country, indirectly or directly. One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people that, now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty. And they weren't telling the truth. They never told the truth. You know that, they'd say, well, we don't charge. Well, they do. They charge tremendous. They charge tremendous. And
oh, are they unfair? Is that what it is, Donald? Oh, they're so unfair. They're so mean to me. You're the one launching the stupidest trade war in history. The response from Canada is because of you. I remember Donald Trump talking about a Canadian premier's statement saying that if Donald Trump continue with the tariffs, they might just have to cut off electricity to the United States. And he said, the first thing he said was, who would negotiate such a stupid deal in which Canada is supplying us with energy when it was Donald Trump who negotiated that deal? And the second thing is he said, who would do that? Who would do such a thing to their ally, who they spent so many years in a good relationship with you? Donald, you are the one who was exercising these TE. You wanted to put them in place to begin with. You're the one who caused all the problems, and he doesn't seem to recognize that, or just doesn't, I guess, care to acknowledge it in the same way that he doesn't care to acknowledge a lot of things, like the independent judiciary.
This is leading people to wonder whether there are court orders that you will defy because you believe that the judge has no jurisdiction, or they're political questions and not justiciable at all. And what would you say to that? Are there circumstances where you would defy a court order?
Well, I think that, number one, nobody's been through more courts than I have. I think nobody knows the courts any better than I have. I would say the chief judge does, but nobody knows them better than I have. And what they've done to me, I've had the worst judges. I've had crooked judges. I have judges that valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 million because that benefited his case, because he wanted to see me convicted of something. I have judges that had relatives making millions and millions of dollars on the election, ruling on the election.
But going forward,
I had judges that were so corrupt.
Because we all know that was outrageous.
I never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges. And these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point, you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. The judge that we're talking about, you look at his other rulings, rulings unrelated, but having to do with me, he's a lunatic.
He wants details.
I was really surprised to see Laura Ingraham ask real questions of Donald Trump, but as we've just come to expect, of course, he didn't answer them. And that's kind of been Theo on all the questions around Donald Trump's law-breaking and unlawful actions when Carolyn Levitt was asked if Donald Trump actually thinks he can void Joe Biden pardons. She kind of just danced around the question because she doesn't know what she's talking about on anything. But when we saw Marco Rubio asked if Imam Mudkill actually committed any crimes, if there was a reason for deporting him, he also danced around that and didn't give an answer because they don't actually want to give answers to whether crimes were committed or Donald Trump has authority. They wanted to be as gray as possible because it's not about crimes. It's not about authority. It's about putting as much power in Donald Trump's hands as possible. They don't want a reason for it other than Donald Trump wants it. That is their reasoning for everything. If Donald Trump wants something to happen, they think that is justification enough for it to happen. And the same is true with the attacks on us aid, which Donald Trump was also asked about right here.
AID ordering the government on an accelerated basis to basically reinstate the agency's statutory functions. Your reaction to this development?
Look at the fraud that we've caught. We've caught so much fraud, so much waste, so many employees that never showed up to work, and we have a judge from a very liberal state who ruled like that. So bad for our country.
So I guess they closed the department. They're going to have to reopen
well,
the department.
We'll be appealing it, I guess. Not I guess. I guarantee you. We will be appealing it. We have rogue judges that are destroying our country.
Well, do you believe that at this point, given the totality of these lawsuits, it's a cavalcade of lawsuits, that your administration could be further hampered, your agenda could be slowed down? They're throwing monkey wrenches at you with these judicial rulings.
Well, we have to go through an appellate process. That takes a long time.
Now, let me state very clearly for the record, there has been no fraud found in USAID that Donald Trump was talking about. And in that clip, I saw a clip of the, whatever his name, Mr. Wonderful, not really so much from Shark Tank, talking about how this is the first time in decades that our government has been audited, and the host on CNN interrupted and said, well, actually, these agencies are audited multiple times a year. USAID is audited by the inspectors general who Donald Trump fired, and they pass those audits, unlike the Pentagon, who's always shipping money over to Elon Musk, that is consistently failing those audits, yet there's no examination there. We don't care to take a look at Elon's contracts. Why? Because it's not what Donald Trump wants, which is ultimately what this all boils down to. And someone making a great argument against all of their nonsensical arguments staying on Fox. But in the group of people that we like, actually on Fox, was Jessica Tarlov right here.
Gaslighting. You know, that was me. I had beans for lunch.
There is a new lawsuit, and maybe you'll care about this because it's about an American, from the National Immigrant Justice Center. Here we go. Here's an American. There are 22 people that they're saying in the state of Illinois who have had their rights violated since Trump came into office, including a 54-year-old American who was born in this country, who had his stuff taken away, was thrown in a van, handcuffed. Took 10 hours for him to be able to get out of there. Now, they had no reason to
got out. Yeah. Isn't that the point?
You know what? Then I'm going to throw you in jail for 10 hours and see how you feel about it.
You know what? Who are you fighting for? Are you fighting for the criminals?
I'm fighting for an American. Right. Actually, if they, why can't you accept it? If mistakes are being made, that they should do a better job of this. ICE even had a declaration that came out last night.
You let them all in. What are you talking about? Do a better job.
We can always do a better job. I agree. But that doesn't negate the job that's being done.
I think it is important to, one, recognize that they don't want to provide actual legal frameworks for the actions that they're taking, because this isn't about what is and is not legal. It is about what they can and cannot get away with. And they're doing so on the issues that are most contentious, because they believe that gives them more discretion, at least in the court of public opinion, before they actually enter the courtroom. It's why Donald Trump has picked to this issue of immigration to launch his first complete opposition to the judiciary, completely disregarding court ORD, because he thinks he can first win in the court of public opinion. We cannot allow that to happen. We have to continue to fight back, call this out. And it's what we're going to be doing on the show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.